Right, the project we're doing today is to make some serving trays, and this is basically what they're going to look like at the end of the project. This particular one has a bevel of 10 degrees to the base. They're all dovetailed and they've got the hand holes cut into the frame itself. The base in this particular case is glued and nailed on, but what we're going to do next time is we're actually going to rebate the base, and we're going to fit the base in to the sides. Now this is all pine that was being thrown away, and what we've done here is that we've brought that to size. It's 10mm thick, and now we're going to cut it into strips to be able to make the frames with. Cut the boards of pine down to strips. So these are 64mm wide. Alright, so what we're going to do now is cut the long side pieces. Now these are 400 in length, and basically we've set the stop up on the crosscut sled, and we've checked that with the blade and measured it all up. So what we'll do now is just cut all the 400s, and then we're going to swap over and do the 300s. So what we're doing here now is just setting the stop up for the 300. So I'm just putting our line with marks onto the edge cut of the blade, moving the stop up against it, tightening the stop up, and as I'm just checking that against the blade to see where the blade is hitting, and that probably just needs to come back a little bit more. Pretty much spot on. So what we're doing here today is starting to make the angled or the beveled trays, and the angle that we're going to use is 9 degrees. So what we've got here is an adjustable square and a protractor, and basically we're just putting that along one face and then bring it up, finding 9 degrees, which is the angle we'll be using, and then we just tighten that down and lock it in. So we've got a 9 degrees set on our adjustable square, and what we're going to do now is just bring that in, and we're just going to run it along the maximum number of teeth we can get. So we've got 4 sets of teeth there, and if we run that in, you can see there that it's just running along just nice and neatly along there. So we've adjusted the angle here, we've locked it in, and it's ready to go. And as you saw before, we put the adjustable square on here. We ran that along 3 of the teeth blades, or 4 of the teeth blades in our case, and just had that running nice and square to that. And as you can see here, we're on about 9 degrees here, but it's just slightly off on the measurements that are on this machine. So you can't trust these measurements, you've got to do a proper measurement yourself. Once that angle is moved in and locked down, it's ready to go. So what we're doing now is just to get our stop position right, we're just going to bring the saw blade down. We're going to run a small square this time along the face of the the actual teeth. And you can see here that we've left about 1 millimetre at one end, and now that we've got that set, we can hold this in position, and then we can put a stop on. Right, so what we've done here, because of the setup that we've got here, is that we've got a long straight piece of plywood that'll act as a stop, and we've secured that to the actual workbench here, and we've positioned that so that each of the cuts that we do now will, cut that same position and the same angle. So what we've got here is our first piece of timber we're going to cut, and we've got that pushed up against the stock just firmly and square to the face edge. And what we'll do now is just bring the saw down and bring it through, and that'll cut the 9-degree angle that we're after. So as you can see here, we've cut the 9-degree bevel, and this is the next side that we've got to do, so we've got to cut that to match, and again it'll be cut in that direction. Now once that's done, you're going to end up with a situation of 2 bevels, and then we'll be cutting the dovetail right to actually join in. Well, we've cut all the 9-degree angles on the timber, so now they're in their sets. So you've got your 2 ends and your 2 sides. So our next process now is to mark out and cut the dovetails.